Okay, this is Yazan. We're trying to do some of the tasks on the assignment for workshop 5. Now I'm going to start with the VLOOKUP. It's task number 3535. This task is straightforward. What we're trying to do is actually bring the value from column E, match it with the lookup array, the one in from I2 till to J7. So this is the lookup table for me. I'm just trying to bring that value from E, match it with the table, and retrieve the amount from the second column. It is as simple as that. So what we're trying to do is, first of all, to insert a function. Pick the category, which is lookup and reference. Then go to VLOOKUP. First of all, I need the lookup value, which is, in this case, it's E2. I'm bringing the value from E2. The lookup array, my lookup array in the range of I3 to J7, and then column index. So I'm matching the value from E2 with the table array I3 J7, but which value I'm retrieving? I'm retrieving the value from the second column that is associated with that. So whatever matches the first column, I'm bringing the value from the second column associated with the first one. So I'm bringing it from the second, and that's it. Now for the if function. This one is as simple as the one before it, task EX3538. I'm trying to compare the value of the cell in L8 with 10. If the value in L8 was above 10, then I want the output to be Y, and if it was not, the output to be N. So simply I want to insert a function, and the group I'm trying to pick from is the logical. And I need the F function. The logical test is L8 greater than 10. If it's yes, then I want the output to be Y. And if that was false, the argument was false, I want the output to be N. Click on OK, and that's it. Okay, now the third task, we're trying to do the average F. The average F is also straightforward. It's an easy function. Average F, the difference between average F and the regular average is that we have a condition, we have a criteria we're trying to match. We only gonna average those cells that match our criteria. Why some students might be confused a little bit with it, because sometimes the cell range that we're trying to match with our criteria is different than the cell range that we're trying to average. So keep that in mind. The only condition that there should be the same length, like the same number of cells. So for example, here it asks you to create a formula in the selected cell, which is already selected, that will calculate the average amount of donations in the range B3 to B21. So from B3 to B21 over here, we have amounts, values. And from C3 to C21, we have 1000 plus. And the condition here is we only want to add those amounts that has Y, which probably means yes, and this 1000 plus. Okay, so how would we do that? One more time, regular way of going and inserting a function. Oh, what is my cursor? Okay, and the group I'm trying to get it from is the statistical. Statistical. And I'm trying to use the average F. Okay, so what is the range? One more time. The range in the first field, which means the range I'm going to match with the criteria. So in this situation, it's from C3 to C21 because this function is going to go to cells from C3 to C21 and match them with the criteria, which is Y, and then pick the cells that are associated with the column C from B3, and you have to notice that both of these have the same length. So this function can go and retrieve those cells from B3 to B21 that had Y and the column next to it, C. And then I click OK. And that's it. Okay. Now we're doing the COUNTIF function. COUNTIF function is easier than average if for the reason that you're only counting, so you have only one cell range that you matching with your criteria or your condition. And over here it asks you to create a formula and the selected cell that will return the number of records in the range where the 1000 plus field equals Y. So you're going to go from C3 to C21, see which cells get Y in it, and then count those cells. So insert function, which group I'm trying to pick from. Is this a statistical group again? I'm trying to get count F. And what is the range? It is from C3 to C21, and the criteria should, the cell should have the Y inside it to be counted. And that's it. Okay, now we're doing the decount function. So, some students might be confused about the decount function. Okay, in the decount function, first of all, instead of talking about range, we're talking about database. Database is simply just the range you're trying to apply the condition or the criteria. The difference here is instead of putting that condition or that criteria inside your formula, you put it in a different table just to make it easier for you to change instead of going every time back to the formula itself and change that inside that formula. So first of all, I want to go and insert function, and here you can see that the database function gets its own category, which database, and you just pick the decount, right? Because I'm trying to create a formula in the selected cell that will return the number of records, which mean we're only counting in the range D2 to D21 for the field D2 that matches. Okay, so let's select decount. What is my database? One more time, the database is only the range of cells that you're trying to apply your condition on. trying to either count, average, the sum, the max, all the same idea. So my data is in D2 to D21. This is the database. What is the field I'm trying to apply that condition on? It's the donor class, right? So the field that you're trying to apply to is D2 as the donor class, and the criteria that you're trying to apply it on those cells on this database, you find that criteria, and instead of putting the criterions in here, the idea of database function is to go and find it from somewhere else, which is in this case the other table H4 to H5. So H4 to H5, and just click on OK, and that's it. Okay, now we're trying to do task ID 4057, which is the OR function. So the OR function, the output for an OR or an AND function, is either true or false, right? So if the condition, or the bunch of arguments that you put in the OR function end up being a true, the output will be true. If it not, will be false. In OR function, if you put one argument or many, if one of them is true, the output for the OR function is true. So here it asks you to create a formula in the selected cell that will return the value true if either the number of donation in cell C3 is greater than 1, or the total pledged in cell D3 is greater than 500. So simply speaking, you go just insert function, and you select logical. You find your OR function in the logical group, and then you go and pick on the OR function. So the first logical statement is C3 greater than 1. So if C3 greater than 1, the output for this OR function will be true, because it tells you, checks whether, you can see that down here, checks whether any of the arguments are true and returns true, or false returns false only if all arguments are false. So if one of these is true, the output for the OR function is true. The second logical condition is D3 is it greater than 500, and put OK, and that's it. The output is true here. Okay, now the last function, which is create a formula using the SUMIF function, and it's exercise 4059 as the task ID. Let's launch this. Over here, we're going to use the SUMIF and ask you to create a formula in the selected cell, already selected. We'll return the sum of values in the total pledged column, so the total from the values in the total pledge, where the status in the column next to it, to the left of it, C, should be P. So how would I do that? First of all, you go and insert your function. In this case, I want the SUMIF, and it's in the math and trig. And just scroll down till you find the SUMIF. And now, first of all, the range. One more time. And as we did in the average if, the range, okay? So range and criteria, this is mandatory. How would we know that? Because they are actually in bold. So they're mandatory. I have to put that value in. Okay, so I have to put the range that I'm going to apply the criteria on, which is, I'm trying to see which cells has the letter P in them. So I want the range to be from C3 to C20, and the criteria to have the letter P, and the sum range to be from, I'm summing the total pledge from D3 to D20. Notice again that the range and the sum range should be the same length. And hit OK, and that's it. You get the total. It's 5,000. And that's it for assignments, for assignment 2013 workshop 5. Thank you.